the best ways to do that is by learning how we became a state that we love today and call home, actually.
That's right, and Claudia's in the studio to tell us how we can do it, not just today, but every single day.
Yeah, that's right, you guys. I don't know if you know this, but I kind of like history, just a little bit, and I kind of know some about it, but I actually remember where I was the exact moment the history bug bit me. I was 6 years old, and I was on Mackinac Island. And since then, my love for history has only deepened or worsened, depending on how you look at it. And it's because of places like the Michigan History Center that I get to keep on loving it and learning about it. Take a look.
Michigan has had a very interesting, diverse, and powerful history. I think knowing your own history, knowing the history of the state that you live in, really can ground and connect you to a place. When I think about this museum, I think about it has this quality of transporting you. You can visually see what it was like, but you can feel it. Times that are both good and bad. And I think when museums are at their best, that's what they do. Museums are the places where you can really see the stuff. You can see the artifacts and objects that are important to our history, but it's also about what everyday people were doing, how they shaped their communities, but how they shaped the state itself as well. Often as a historian, you ask yourself, what is here, but also what isn't here? Whose story is being told, but also whose story isn't being told, or what that can tell us about a society. I almost feel like a detective. You're looking at evidence to then create a narrative and a story, which is a skill I think everybody needs. There are other things that you come across that you might not understand, and you start building these clues to then create a story and a narrative. I come from a family where we don't have a lot of documentation about our family. I know my grandparents' name, and that's pretty much it. I think that with history, the interesting thing about it is that the gaps can say as much about history and what has happened as the records themselves. There are historians who are picking at those gaps and trying to bring unheard or untold stories or lesser known stories to light, for sure. There's still so much research to be done about Michigan history, which is really exciting. Here at the Michigan History Center, we have exhibits about glaciers, ancient ancestors that were here, thousands of years ago. Michigan's indigenous history, both pre-contact with Europeans, but also after what their interactions were, but also contemporary indigenous communities. Pre-manufacturing history, our agricultural history, mining, lumbering, but then also after the car, once Michigan became the arsenal of democracy, we talk about Motown, we talk about the civil rights movements in the 1960s. We really try to represent all of Michigan history. If someone tells you that your story or the story that you see yourself reflected in is important, that can be a big boost to yourself and your self-esteem. It's just a great touch point for understanding who we are and how we got to this place.
And the great thing about the Michigan History Center is they're open all days of the week, and on Sundays they are free. So if you have nothing to do this weekend and you're cold and need a place to warm up, It's a great time to go learn about Michigan's history, and maybe you might learn something about yourself too.
Ooh,
Love it.
I like that. I love the imagery too. So I just got chills. Michigan's the best.
I think it's a great time to learn every weekend, every day, not just this weekend, Clauds. All right.
Exactly.
Well, the party is just